Go ahead and move on here to the Packers. This is another one where, hey, we got our stalwart one. Now we need to fill in that 2 spot. So we have, of course, Davante Adams there. And then from there we have Geronimo Allison, who's a free agent. Not sure if they're going to resign him. We have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who's still there. We have Alan Lazard that we just mentioned. He's a free agent. I think another team would be interested enough to sign him. They have the 25th most cap space, so not a ton to work with, only $20 million. A lot of people saying A.J. Green would be a good fit in that offense. I tend to agree, put him on the other side of Adams, and that's a lot of weapons for Rodgers to work with. They also have a first, second, and third round pick, all at the 30th spot, so very late. There's some interesting draft names here, but Alex, what's your take on the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, we've all heard the A.J. Green takes, just given the $21 million of cap space and the minimal draft capital. I mean, it's the 30th pick in each round. That's just not a lot to be able to go out and bring in a guy like A.J. Green. Like, if they want to go sign A.J. Green, they're going to have to pretty much blow all of their cap, and they're going to be really constricted elsewhere. So maybe they get creative and clear some cap space and find a way to go get A.J. Green. That would obviously be incredible to see Aaron Rodgers have, Davante Adams on one side and A.J. on the other, but I actually think they go out and sign one of the lesser expensive free agents. They've tried the young guys over the past couple years at the wide receiver 2 spot, like Geronimo Allison didn't really work out. MVS didn't really work out. So I don't necessarily think they want to go to the draft for a receiver at this point because at the 130 spot, I don't think they take a receiver. And if you're waiting until 230 or 330, like there's some talent there. We saw Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel break out after being second and third round picks in their rookie season this past year, but like they can't really count on that, and it's burned them over the past few seasons. So I actually really think they like Alan Lazard a lot, and I don't think they want him to be their wide receiver 2, but I think there's a good chance they bring him back on a small deal to be their wide receiver 3. And I think they could go out and get a guy we talked about a little earlier, Emmanuel Sanders. To me, makes a lot of sense. He's not going to cost you what A.J. Green's going to cost you. But you think about his play style opposite of Davante Adams, and it could really make a lot of sense. He's a great route runner. He's quick. He can run a lot of underneath stuff. So he's a veteran. He's a leader as well. So maybe, they pick a guy in round 2 or round 3 in the draft and pair him with Emmanuel Sanders. Maybe they sign Emmanuel Sanders and sign Alan Lazard and have him kind of try to mentor and coach up. Have Sanders coach up Lazard over the next couple years. But that's something that makes sense to me. Obviously, if Randall Cobb hits the open market, there's always going to be a connection there with Green Bay. And then another guy we haven't really talked about is Philip Dorsett. He showed some flashes with New England these past couple seasons, and he was a number 1 pick just a few years ago. So maybe they, roll the dice on a guy like Philip Dorsett and see what he can do. But I think maybe they bring in a couple of these guys. Maybe they sign Lazard and Dorsett. Maybe they pair Lazard with a more established guy like Emmanuel Sanders. But I think it's going to kind of be a committee approach. I don't know that they're going to be able to go get a stud.
Yeah, I love, you named Philip Dorsett. That's a great tier for, I feel like, where they're going to go. Another name that's kind of in that range would be like Taylor Gabriel. He's had some, shown explosiveness at times, shows that he can fit into, some different offenses, being on the Falcons and then the Bears. I love the idea of them taking the best wide receiver that falls to them late in the first or late in the second if there's still some decent names still out there. So look for a guy like maybe T. Higgins out of Clemson, Justin Jefferson at LSU. I think Justin Jefferson would be a great fit as a wide receiver too. If the passing volume were to increase, I think it will. And to your point, Alan Lazard was actually a relatively decent fantasy option. It's kind of like a low-end handcuff for Davante Adams when he went out for about 5 weeks. I was plugging him into some lineups. It was pretty gross. But let's go ahead and move on here.